Waxy Wednesdays with Wax Romantics.
Is that my old pal Julian?
Hey,
Hey, old pal.
what's up, sir?
Not much, man. What's
You've
up with
aged
you?
very poorly. You look like shit.
It's been a rough couple of weeks, my friend.
You want to run me through it? What happened?
No, it's been fine. It's been super busy, and I've been a little down in the dumps. Just like in a weird mood, I guess, lately. But nothing too serious.
Yeah. What's been keeping you busy?
Work,
Yeah.
mostly, and then Klaus, obviously.
Yeah.
And then
How's he?
he's good, man. He's a good boy, but he's got a lot of energy, and
I bet.
he makes the house pretty dirty. We're gonna try to keep it tidy. There's always something to clean up. And then I've been trying to get a bunch done on the yard, which is slow going. And Klaus makes it even more slow going.
What kind of yard projects? I love me a good yard project.
Yeah, I have a few things going on. So we planted a bunch of grass seed a little bit ago. So trying to grow some grass. I've had to put more seed down several times. And then we built some garden beds that we are planting this coming weekend over Memorial Day. And then I built a patio last summer and then put in rocks all around the patio. But then I dug out even more area to fill in with rocks. And then I got these nice edging stones that I installed. So that was a lot of work. And then we had this old doghouse that I tore down. That was also a full day. Then I did dispose of everything, which was a full day.
You were telling me about the doghouse.
Yeah, I thought I did.
The reservations that went tearing it down.
Yeah, I just went for it.
Good. Sometimes you got to just fucking destroy something.
Yeah, I know. So it was nice, but after tearing it down, I realized it was kind of decrepit. It was kind of rotting from the inside. And it was just a retirement community for wasps. Except they hadn't retired. They were very much active.
They were active.
Stinging the shit out of me. I only got stung once, actually, by one of them, but it sucked. The next big thing is to get AC in my house because I don't
You don't have AC?
I don't have AC. I have heating, obviously, so there's ducting everywhere and there's a fan already and stuff. So I thought it'd be somewhat trivial. I thought just kind of buying the unit and then hooking it up however they needed to. And so I did a little bit of research of looking at what kind of AC unit we would need for square footage, because this is a really small house. So we just need the smallest size they offer pretty much. And so I thought it'd be close to $2,000 maybe after buying the AC unit and paying for the labor to get installed. And so I had a guy come over and do a quote today, and he asked what the budget was. And I was I was hoping we could keep it at $1,500 or $2,000. And he laughed in my face. He was like, it's going to be $10,000 minimum. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah. And he
Why?
still didn't. I don't know. He didn't do it. I'm not going with this company, if that's for sure. He didn't do a great job of explaining it. But I guess because of all the supply chain stuff, that's one thing he threw out. That getting the equipment is more expensive. Okay. But I was like, it can't. And I've seen
fucking everyone with that bullshit.
I know. The amount of times you hear supply chain from people who have no idea what fucking supply chain was before.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Yeah. No one knows. It's a made up word.
It's a made up concept.
Yeah, so he said he threw that out. He ended up throwing a bunch of numbers out. But then also I have 100 amp service to my house. But the breaker panel is full. We have something on all the circuits. So he was like, I'm going to need to call my electrician and see what he says. Cause he was like, I think we could go just like tandem off one of these circuits, but I have to call the electrician and see what he says. So he called him in front of me, put him on FaceTime so he could show him the breaker box. And the electrician was like, nope, we're going to need to add a sub panel onto there. And the guy giving me the quote was like, oh, well, okay, do you know how much that would cost? And the electrician was like, $8,000.
God damn.
And I was like, you can leave, man. I'm not doing this.
Get out of my house.
Yeah. The guy actually, after the electrician said that, he was kind of like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, this is like the company guy we have to go with. And he's like, if it was me, I would just go tandem off there. He's like, and I would install it for you, but I'd get fired. And but he referred me to a different company that I'm going to have to come over tomorrow and see if they can do it any cheaper. Because I do really want AC, but I'm not going to spend $10,000 on it. Yeah.
No.
I survived last summer without it. We just put a little window unit in. And so we had one window unit in the kitchen and then like another nice little portable AC thing in the bedroom. And it kept it cool enough, but they just suck so much power. And, they're not efficient at all. And you can have them running all day and it still doesn't work as well as having like central air. So,
yeah, that's the thing. You have to keep it on like all the time.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we should start a DIY home podcast.
Like a fix it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do shit though, so it would
I don't either. And it can just be us speculating about shit we have.
So supply chain. Yeah, supply chain for sure. What else can we blame? Gas prices.
Gas.
Lumber
Biden,
is expensive now. Biden.
The war. Ukraine.
Yep. It's all
ISIS.
Biden, really.
Is ISIS still fair game?
I think so.
You don't hear a lot about those guys anymore.
No, I think that they're doing all right.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the good guys now. I don't think
you've heard it here, folks. I want to get into how your house is doing, but first I'll say, because we're recording, I think I'm going to put all this in because I liked that home talk we just had.
Good productive conversation.
Yeah, productive. So we'll see if Keaton joins. He is out of town on a family vacation celebrating his birthday.
What about Cam?
Cam just texted me. He had something last minute come up. So Cam's not popping on either. So This could very well be the Julian and Collin show, which I would love.
That'd be okay with me.
Yeah, this would be good. So we'll see if Keaton hops on, but let's just we'll keep shooting breeze. So what's up at your house? How are things going?
Well, so the main thing in my house these days is I need a back door, like a sliding glass door installed. And my mom's actually really mad at me because I've been putting it off for since I moved into the house, basically. Just because, supply chain issues.
The war. What do you have there now?
It's like it's a sliding glass door. It just wasn't installed properly. It's not set in any drywall frame or anything. It's just kind of installed directly into the pre-existing wall that was in the house, and there's no trim. The track is totally broken. The door is breaking slowly, just in the sense that there's no weather stripping left. There's nothing preventing the metal of the door from making contact with the metal of the frame. So it just doesn't really open or close very easily.
I bet that sounds great when you
it sounds
screech
cool.
it open.
Yeah. So I've just been putting it off because I am a busy guy, I guess, is the excuse that I'm going with.
Yeah.
So a guy actually came over just today to look at it finally. After kind of a similar thing where we had been talking to a couple guys for a little bit and thinking it would be $500 to $600-ish, and now it's going to be closer to $1,500 or something along those lines. and again, just because of like the shoddiness of how it was done the first time.
Yeah.
Now we have to like undo some of it in order to make the new one work. So that's like the main project that's on everybody's mind. Everything else is just cosmetic. And also out here where I live, we've been having a lot of wind, like really intense wind.
Yeah.
So I've lost a few trees. I think I'm gonna need to cut some trees down. And I've lost a little bit of siding on my house. Need to get some siding bolted back on. Stuff like that. I have no grass to speak of whatsoever. My entire yard is just a dirt patch. But I think I'm going to leave it that way because I don't want grass, and I haven't found anything that I do want as a alternative. So I just need to like plant some trees and get some garden beds going outside, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing trivial, luckily. I have AC and it works. I finally got to test it like last week.
Because you're now
hot
experiencing your first hot days in the house, huh?
Yep, first hot days in the house. We get like a lot of natural sunlight, so it just kind of is really hot, I guess, when it's hot. So I had to test out the AC. That bitch works fucking great.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since our last pod, and to our listeners, sorry for that. But what people need to understand is that to produce content of this caliber at the level we're doing it, it's very taxing to crank out this quality every week. Saying it's full. And we need a rest. This may be surprising to people, but being in Wax Romantics is not our only job. I'm the chief financial officer of Enron, and you've been working for Dick Cheney or something as his assistant.
Yep, I am. Just taking care of his kind of dirty work for him since his heart just exploded for like the 10th time.
As I said that, I was like, wait, Dick Cheney didn't die yet, did he?
I honestly had the exact same
still
thought.
Very much alive.
Let's
I think he's
see,
alive.
because I'm pretty sure he is too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's 81 years old.
81.
And he's like a fat fuck who's had how many heart attacks? And he's still alive.
A lot. Did you see that movie Vice?
Dude, I did. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining.
It is. It just reminded me. Yeah.
Sorry. Just Christian Bale in that as Dick Cheney is so fucking funny. It's like... It's like so good.
That's a really good impression. I liked the heart attack thing. Just reminded me because the narrator of that movie, right? It's like someone who he got a heart transplant from, right? That's like the whole concept. Some guy got hit by a car who was a veteran of the Iraq War, and his heart ended up in Dick Cheney. Was it his heart? Was it a different organ?
It had to have been his heart because that's the thing
that's what keeps going out on
Dick so much trouble. Yeah. Proof. What is it? In the movie, it says something about it's proof that Dick Cheney has a heart.
Yeah,
because it keeps going out on him.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it. I watched it
again. I watched it again not too long ago, and I think that the one thing. It's Judd Apatow, right? Yeah.
Adam McKay.
Adam McKay. Fuck,
yeah.
I always get them confused.
Uh-huh.
Adam McKay, it's like his new-ish directing style to just be like frantic and all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Like, cutaways,
a bunch of weird cuts.
Metaphor scenes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Last time I watched it, I was like, oh man, like this is a little bit too artistic to be like a fucking movie about a war dog. Like
I kind of remember that too. Yeah. I remember being taken out of it a little bit by some of those choices.
Yeah.
And,
but it's great.
I feel like Don't Look Up had similar thing. Like I liked Don't Look Up a lot. So, but yeah, it got a little too quirky some places.
Yeah,
What it was.
that film gets super weird in some moments. Like I've only seen it once, but the ending scene where everyone's just like sitting down, like eating dinner or like watching a movie while the whole world's like fucking exploding. It's good and I like it. It's funny, but it's also kind of like okay, come on. This is drawn out as fuck.
Yeah.
How many millions of dollars did that cost to shoot?
Yeah. I just read a thing. Did you watch the little post credits thing where Meryl Streep and all of the billionaires end up landing on the planet? And Meryl Streep is nude and she has a tramp stamp. I just read a thing that Leo was really upset about that. And he thought it was degrading to Meryl Streep and that she's like Hollywood royalty and shouldn't be shown with the tramp stamp. I was like, she decided to do it, right? Yeah. So fuck off, man.
Yeah, Leo can't really. I mean, Leo's done a lot of weird things on camera.
Yeah. And
I would argue, I mean, he's not Meryl Streep status. I don't think anybody is, but he's kind of like also pretty popular in Hollywood. If that's how you're going to judge, like, I don't know, people's legacy. That's kind of weird. That's, I think the best part of that whole movie, I can't remember if it's Leo or if it's what's her name? The Hunger Games lady.
Jennifer Lawrence.
But one of them's just like screaming, like, "Are you guys not fucking paying attention? Like, come on, does no one give a fuck?" Like, I felt that so hard. I do that like 20 times a week.
Because the whole time I was watching the movie and like the Don't Look Up thing, it obviously applies to climate change too, but I thought it was like a very just an analogy for COVID. And everyone was like, don't look at the science. But I guess Adam McKay had it written before COVID happened at all. It just so worked out that COVID perfectly fit into the narrative he'd come up with.
That's like that's the human reaction to like everything is just like, oh, don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
We're good.
In the sand. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yes, it isn't that shocking that I'm sure we'll have that reaction to several other things.
Yeah.
Like, even just, I know shockingly little about what's happening in Ukraine. And it's like, definitely, I don't like reading the news. And I know that sounds like privileged and kind of fucked up that I should be keeping up with world events, especially something of that scale. But it's just shocking that like this thing is going on and coverage isn't like, it's so much easier to hear about the Johnny Depp, like Amber Heard case than it is to find any coverage on Ukraine. And like I said, I'm not seeking anything out. I'm just saying like from just casually scrolling the internet or looking at any news site, that's
I totally agree. It's like the same thing when we were talking about forever ago, the Will Smith slap. Mm-hmm. It's like how many days or like weeks rather was that something that was like front page or like top on the top of YouTube or like something like and this sounds bad because like I mean it is kind of bad, but like the rest of the culture our age, I guess, we don't really pay attention to shit that's not put like directly in front of us per se. Like I'm the same way, and like I know a lot of people that are too. Like I care about the state of the world, and I like give a shit obviously about like people dying and like war. Like I don't really know anyone that doesn't care about that type of stuff. But if it's not something that is fed to me like that I'm like forced to know about, then I won't really know about it. And they force a lot of that shit down our throats. Like, I didn't want to know about Will Smith punching or slapping whatever fucking that dude in the face. Like, I didn't give a shit about that. I didn't care about whoever the fuck tackled like Chappelle on stage like a week after the Will Smith thing happened. I don't care about like the Kanye fucking Pete thing. I don't care about like any of it, but like I still know about it because like it was just there when I opened Instagram or like went on YouTube or like, you know,
it's impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
I'm want to ask you about this. I like, especially around the election in 2020, I heard this sentiment repeated a lot of like, you know, when people would say, "Oh, I'm not political," I'm not keeping up on it. There was a lot of people saying like, "Oh, that's fucked up. Like, that's super privileged of you. You have to have a view on politics. Like, it's privileged that you're in a place to not care about politics." And I think it's kind of the same thing with like news. Like, "Oh, I don't watch the news." Like, "Oh, wow, like that's nice. You don't have to keep up with what's happening around you." And so I understand where like those people are coming from, but I think I still ultimately believe like you don't have to be a political person. If the Trump-Biden election was extreme, obviously, I think like maybe not voting is another thing. If you brought it to that, of like, "I'm not a political person, I'm not going to vote," then, you know, that could be viewed one way because Trump, Biden, that was an extreme moment. And obviously people saw it as a huge turning point potentially in US history. And so that's understandable. But I don't know, what do you think? Like, do you think everyone nowadays, do you think you have to have a political view and be up on politics and have an opinion on everything? Or can you just live as a person and be into what you're into?
That's a really good question. And I think, first of all, you have to like address the root point of the discussion, which is like, or at least this discussion, which is like if you are in a position to not care about politics, then you're privileged. And I think that that's not true, because whether or not you're aware of something doesn't like stop it from affecting you. So like, yeah, I'm a white dude, you're a white dude. So like there's maybe not as much political discourse that affects like our day-to-day lives or like the way that we live or the way that we can make our choices. But being totally ignorant to politics at large or the social discussions that people are having like at large will affect every single person that doesn't pay attention, like on some level. Like, give the government enough time or a certain, you know, entity of the government enough time and they'll try to corrupt and take advantage of any group of people. Like, they don't give a fuck who it is. So if you don't pay attention to politics, I don't think it's because of a place of privilege necessarily, as much as just a place of like straight ignorance. And like, that's okay. I am willfully and happily ignorant to like many, many things that happen in the world, because if you were to keep up with every single thing that happens in a day, like foreign or domestic, whatever it might be, like you would lose your fucking mind. And I know like growing up, my dad was a pretty political person, just in the sense that he paid attention to what was happening like all times, and he would like go crazy. And it's like, you know, to that same coin flip, like, oh, you're a white dude and this shit doesn't really affect you, so like why do you care? You're middle class, like you're a homeowner, whatever, you're married, what you have dependent on your taxes, like the conversation at large doesn't affect you as an individual. So, like, why do you care? I think it's like that same question, like, well, you're either privileged enough to know about it and have it not affect you, or you're like privileged for not knowing at all. And like both ways, you're like losing, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's a conversation of privilege. It's just a conversation of how involved you want to be in knowing what's happening to you and around you. Because yeah, the things that happen, the rules that go into effect might not affect you personally right now, but like we all know someone or are directly involved with someone who that shit's going to affect. And then in that way, it is going to affect you too. So like whether or not you want to know about it, that's like on you. And like you can't know everything and you can't try to like be current with everything because you'll go crazy. And like this day and age, we're fed information at such an accelerated rate. And I feel like because of that, we feel like things happen at an accelerated rate. But I feel like the world's moving at the same speed. It probably always has. And we're just getting fed way more bullshit. And it's up to us to like pick and sort through it and figure out what we care about and what we don't.
This might sound silly, but like, so I have political views at a very high level. Like I know which side I lean to. Obviously, I have very strong ideals towards how our society would ideally be structured. And so that way, like I have political opinions. But in a way, I'm so jaded and have no, even as like a very young person who's barely been in the adult world at all, I already have kind of no confidence, no faith that the political system can ever really like accomplish anything or stretch out further than what it already does. Because ultimately it's a system that operates to ensure wealth and power to people who already have it. And there's a lot of infrastructure around it. I think it'll be very difficult to dismantle. So I was like, obviously really happy to get Trump out of the White House just for what he symbolized. And like you were saying, I think to not at least vote in that, like, yeah, that's coming from a place of privilege, and you had to understand what people are facing with Trump as the president, or were facing with him as the president, especially minorities. And but
just women, like
women and anybody who, you know, obviously, like especially women and minorities, but it's just a fucking horrible person. Anyways, beyond Trump, it does feel like a lot of, you know, we pat ourselves on the back. Yeah, Biden is the president. We're all good people. We voted for Biden. But, and you know, this could be because I'm coming from a place of privilege, but what's fucking changed? You know, I would hazard to say very little for everybody across the board. It's the president at the end of the day is a silly job. It's really just this show we put on to put one guy up there in a fancy little suit and pretend that he's gonna steer the whole ship in a different course.
Right.
Really, it's the same ship. It's the same crew. It's heading the same direction. It's controlled by the same ocean.
And why would someone like you or I be even remotely interested or tempted to care about Biden when he so clearly doesn't represent anything about us or where we want to go? Like,
yeah,
we've never.
At the end of the day, he's just a person who really, really, really wanted power. Like, think about how much bullshit he's had his entire life to like get to where he is.
Right.
He
well,
really wants power.
How many times he tried, like, to get into that place before and failed. And it's the same thing with like Hillary Clinton. Like, you know, you try so many times, you lose this many times. Maybe it's just indicative that you don't reflect the needs and the wants of the people. And like, you know, me want power isn't like a good enough fucking pitch for the people anymore. Like,
yeah. No, I've said this, like, if you want to run for president, you should be immediately disqualified for running for president. It's
they should make someone do it who does not want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need to just find a responsible person, just throw him up there.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, should we lighten it up a little bit?
Yeah. Should we talk about like music?
Yeah, it is a music podcast, right?
Or should we talk about the weather?
Let's talk local weather.
It's cold. It's chilly in my basement.
Yeah, we did. We had a little bit of a cold front here this past weekend. So that was the weather segment. Anyways,
quick segment.
Music. I did. We haven't had a pod since our FocoMX show at the Atrium. I had a fun time that night. That was a good show.
Yeah, shout out to Fort Collins Music Association for making that happen, and shout out to everyone that came to our show and is also listening to this now. You're fucking gorgeous, and we love you.
Yeah, thank you for people who are doing that. Yeah, I did. I realized how much I'd missed FocoMX. It's such a great event and such a fun weekend. I was bummed that I couldn't do more of it. I just got to do the Friday night because I did go out of town the next day. But, yeah, I thought our show was fun. We had a good turnout. And again, thank you to everyone who came out. And then afterwards, you and the Young Habitat boys played, and you guys crushed it. You had a very
thank you.
Vibey and fun set.
Yeah, so big shout out to Riley Sabrana for asking me to be a part of that project, because in a lot of ways, I kind of didn't really know if I was going to be playing music with him again. And then he hit me up out of the blue and was just like, I made this whole new EP and I need a live drummer, and FocoMX is in 3 weeks. Let's do it. I was like, okay, let's fucking do it. Yeah, Riley is just truly like a gifted musician, I think. Like very, very genuine talent there. Anyone who needs to check out some new like art pop or wants something a little bit more on the pretty side, but still very sad side, should check out the new Young Habitat EP that's on all streaming platforms. And yeah, we're also playing, I guess, this Friday in Greeley at like 10:30 p.m. at
cool, man.
Some pinball place in Greeley. So anyone who hears this before that should slide.
Sweet. I'll try to make it out to that Friday. So yeah, dude. Yeah, right. We need to have Riley on the pod.
Yeah, I mean,
let's definitely make that happen.
He's on standby. He's ready whenever we're ready.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that. And yeah, to echo what you said, that Young Habitat EP is great. I was really impressed by it. And yeah, Riley's definitely talented. Definitely had like a very unique sound in mind that he accomplished, I think. Like everything on the album seems pretty intentional, and I definitely think he created something unique and really
definitely
interesting.
Has the kind of the COVID project vibes to it, because I think in a similar way to what I've heard a lot of like musicians and artists say during COVID, they just didn't know what the fuck to do because they couldn't perform and they couldn't get together with their bands. And so yeah, I mean, we're going to have him on. We'll hear it all from him firsthand. But yeah, I think he just really made it by himself as like a passion project. And yeah, it turned out really, really good. I'm super stoked to be a part of it.
For sure. Yeah, we're excited to have him on. What else has been going on music in your life? Any different shows? Any like cool albums you've checked out? Any concerts you've been to?
I just wanted to take a second to shout out the fucking crazy amount of albums that came out the last couple weeks that I've been, and even just
there has
songs.
been a lot of good ones, huh?
So there was, I think since last time we podcasted, we got a new King Gizzard and the Wizard record, which I've been listening to a fuckload, called Omnium Gatherum. There's a new Action Bronson record, Cockadrillo Turbo. Yet. It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. There's a new Arcade Fire record called We, which I've been listening to quite a lot. It's produced by Nigel Godrich, who's like the Radiohead producer. And so I feel like it's just sonically quite interesting. Radiate Like This, which is an album that just came out by a band called Warpaint. Big fan of that one. It's just like really funky and like feel good. There's this new Sharon Van Etten record that's called We've Been Going About This All Wrong, which is really good, really pretty, like really slow, kind of like a very halftime, just grandiose themed record. But yeah, it's really good. And then The Smile, which is this band that is Tom York and Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, and then Tom Skinner, who is like a jazz drummer from this band called Sons of Kemet. They put out their debut record called The Light for Attracting Attention, which I am literally obsessed with. I've been listening to it like twice a day. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. You've listened to it?
Oh yeah, a lot.
What do you think?
Love it too.
Yeah,
I've been obsessed with it. And
what's your favorite one?
It's, let me look at the track list, because it's been one of those where I've just like I've played it through,
throw it on
in the background a billion times. Let me get the track listing to refresh my.
I've been literally like one.
I love the track "You Will Never Work in Television Again."
Yeah.
I guess Thin Thing would be my other favorite one on it.
Yeah, Thin Thing
is kind of the big one from it.
The song The Opposite, I think, is my favorite one at the moment.
Yeah.
And then the new Kendrick record.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kendrick. Haven't listened to it all the way. I've listened to it, most of it, have not played it all the way through yet. I need to. But I've loved what I've heard so far.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
It is out there. Have you checked out any of the music videos for it? The one, I think he's maybe done 2 for it.
I saw the one for The Heart Part 5, which was the one where he had all the other people's faces. I heard there was like some deep fake shit on the other video too, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, that's the video I'm thinking of. It's very visually striking. Very good.
And then Interpol put out a new song called Fables that I've been quite obsessed with.
I noticed your shirt too.
Yeah, I was able to go see Interpol a couple weeks ago in Denver.
Oh, at the Mission?
Yeah, they were so good. They were
really bummed
so
I didn't
good.
come to make it to that show.
You should have, man.
Yeah.
They give off such a just like professional vibe. Like they came out, they didn't talk really at all. It was Paul Banks's birthday. So the audience sang happy birthday to Paul Banks like 6 times. But other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot of interaction between like the band and the audience. They just played song after song after song. And they did a lot of old songs, but they all sounded just like so tight. Like not a note was missed. It was so satisfying. And the sound was like the best live sound I've seen from a band in a fat minute. Wow. I took my earplugs out because it was like almost not loud enough.
Yeah.
Everything was balanced so well. Like you could hear both of the guitars, you could hear the bass, the drums weren't like just ridiculously loud like I feel like they tend to be at Mission Ballroom. Yeah, I was so impressed.
Oh, man, I'm so bummed. So I'm a huge Interpol fan, and I would have loved to see that. I've maybe more than like any other band, really. I've watched a lot of Interpol live videos on like YouTube, and then I have the one of the anniversary editions of Turn Off the Bright Lights,
Nice.
and it came with this awesome compilation DVD of like all of the performances from, or like several different performances from the time that they toured that album. And it's one of the coolest DVDs ever. I remember Keaton and I used to watch it all the time when we were like teenagers. We get super high and put on the DVD. The performances in that are incredible.
Yeah, they're so good.
So yeah, I'm excited for that whole Interpol album to come out. I think it's coming in June.
It's out this next month.
Yeah.
Have you listened to any of the singles?
Just Fables. I was just checking it out though, and they've released 2 others, I guess, that I'm gonna check out immediately.
They have videos for both of them too. They're both pretty good.
Okay.
And then there's this just this one other record I wanted to mention called Heavy Pendulum by this band called Cave-In. And that record just came out on this last Friday. And I just want to mention that record because it's, I feel like, one of the more special releases that we're going to have this year. Cave-In was this band that I can't remember what year they started. It was like 96 or 95, I believe. 98, they put out their first record. And Caleb Schofield was their songwriter, their lead, their front man and everything. And he wound up dying in a car accident in 2018. So I guess the heavy metal community kind of thought Cave-In was like done forever. But they actually threw like 2 new members into the group with the original existing members of Cave-In that are still around. And they put out a new record, and it is actually like quite good. It's pretty classic, just like atmospheric prog, not prog metal because it's not like mathy, but it's definitely like got that post metal vibe in the sense that it's atmospheric metal, really melody focused. Still has a lot of like really huge riffs on it. So anyone who's kind of into that heavy metal type shit, I definitely recommend the Heavy Pendulum album because those Cave-In boys definitely deserve like all the support in the world.
I've just added it to my library. I'll definitely check that out.
Dope.
Yeah, man. Great summary of what's coming. Because you're right. There's been so many releases lately. They've been great. I really like. For a while, I kind of talked about this before, where like there was no new music that was like exciting me. Felt like kind of like a real bummer for a while. But lately, I've been like, we're back on track, baby. Like
I think
things
so.
are feeling right again. I'll just all the ones you mentioned, and then I'll highlight a couple more. Johnny Marr. This was a little bit ago, not super recent, but somewhat recent. I haven't mentioned yet. Johnny Marr released. I guess he's calling it an album. It's like a compilation of 4 EPs. He had dropped kind of incrementally lately. It's called Fever Dreams Part 1 through 4. I've listened to that a lot. It's beautiful. There's been the Band of Horses album, Everything is Fine.
That's a great mention. That record is phenomenal.
Yeah, I've been a huge fan. And then there's been Julian, were you ever an Animal Collective fan?
It comes and goes. Yeah.
Okay. Merriweather Post Pavilion by Animal Collective. I would rank easily top 20. It could maybe even sneak into my top 10 albums of all time on a good day. I'm like forever been, or not forever, but for a long time I've been obsessed with the album. And the new Animal Collective album, trying to come up with the name.
Is it the The one with time in the name.
It is, yeah, Time Skiffs.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just saw that came out. That like just came out, right?
They've been releasing singles off of it for a while. It came out this year, but let's see. No, I think the whole thing dropped in February, so it's been a minute. But
Okay.
I still kind of put it in with the new albums that have been coming out.
Definitely. I'll check that one out.
Yeah, I was impressed with it. I think they did a good job.
Did we ever talk about the new Jack White on this?
Oh no, and yeah, we haven't talked new Jack White.
Definitely got to name drop that one.
Yeah,
Fear of the Dawn. That record is incredible.
It is. It's good to see him embracing some technology.
Right?
Finally.
It's not just like weirdly put together with technology, but it's like actually written with technology in mind.
Yeah. Also, that's also like I think I've heard most of it, but I still haven't given it like an honest front to back listen through, which I really need to do, like in one sitting. But yeah, it's been.
I was playing like once a day for a good couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I was finally like, all right, I got to give this one a rest.
Yeah. Have you seen any good shows? Oh, well, first we saw, last time we all saw each other was at Knuckleball show at the Aggie. Shout out.
Yes.
JJ and the Knuckleball boys, they killed it. I don't know who they were opening for. Some fucking hippie weirdos, I guess, but Knuckleball was great.
I went to JJ's show and JJ bought me a shot. JJ, you want to text me when you hear this and tell me how the fuck what logic that is?
He's too nice of a guy.
You bastard. Yeah, that set was great, and we're playing with them in August, so
yeah, put it on your calendars.
Stuff.
What's the exact date in August?
It's the 26th.
Let's plug our shit. The 26th.
Yep,
26th.
at 8:30 North in Fort Collins.
Be there.
Be there or be rectangular.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen any other shows lately?
No. I think Interpol and Knuckleball was it for me. I am going to see Jack White in June, and I'm also going to be seeing Thrice in June. And I think
where's Thrice playing?
They're playing at Mission.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
I'm gonna write that down because
I've never seen them at like a venue that big before, so I'm pretty excited. Also, the Thrice Boys put out a new song called Dead Wake, which is pretty good as well.
Okay. First, let's mention I saw Phoebe Bridgers this past week at Red Rocks.
At Red Rocks? Dude, yeah. How was that?
Really good. Really good. Phoebe crushed it. Amazing performance. And people were like excited for her, obviously. Like selling out Red Rocks. Everyone was knew it was a big deal. And so there was like a great vibe. And yeah, she crushed it. Her set was amazing. The opener, I think they are also a great band. I feel bad. Sloppy Jane, that's what they're called. But they had bad sound for their set, which was a bummer.
I feel like that's a trend at Red Rocks. The opener.
That's why I was just talking to someone about that today. That most of the shows I go to, the opener sounds atrocious.
Sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. I know it's rare that you'll have really good sound for the opener. But anyway, so that was good. And then this was a while ago. This was in like mid-April, but I never talked about it with you guys. Are you familiar with the band Steel Panther?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I had two buddies from work that went to that Steel Panther show. So yeah I want to hear your side of it because I already have an idea in my head of how it went.
I went and so first I have been a fan of Steel Panther for a while. I first got on board like a long time ago because on the Skate 3 video game soundtrack, Steel Panther had one of my favorite songs, Eyes of a Panther. And so I was familiar with Steel Panther from them. And then I didn't really know, like, I didn't know that they toured and what the tour was like and everything. So when I found out they'd be in Thailand, when I got tickets, I watched a lot of videos and like read a lot about their tours. And so I understood going into it that it's like part comedy show, part concert. You know, they really committed to this whole hair metal spoof thing. And so it was at the Fillmore, which is a great venue for that sort of thing, kind of just a dirty rock club in Denver. And I was shocked at how hard it went off, like how many boobs I saw that night, how crude and lewd their set was. And, you know, there was like barely any live vocals. It was all a backing track, which is understandable, like the way that dude sings, and he's pretty old. That was a running joke that like their singer's like 80 years old. He's not, but you know, he's easily in his
might
50s.
as well be.
Yeah, but it was, you know, they played into the whole like, yeah, we're using backing tracks, fuck you. And but yeah, I enjoyed myself. The opener was also like a spoof hair metal thing. I forget. I think they were called Love Mustang. A little more earnest than Steel Panther, but you know, it was nice. It was like everyone was there. It was good vibes. People were in on the joke. There's definitely a few people who were way too fucking drunk, and
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I had a good time.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good. My buddies both just were like, oh, it was kind of weak. Like, I think they're both just expecting it to be like a bona fide fucking shreddy metal performance.
Yeah,
so they were just like, it kind of sucked.
And that's why I'm mentioned that. Then I'm glad I looked up what the show was like what to expect. Yeah, ahead of time. But you know, they shred, man. They're really good musicians, and the guitar player had this hilarious like 30-minute guitar solo interlude thing where he, you know, just shredded this hilarious guitar solo for a super long time. Yeah, it was. I don't know if I'd go to another one, but I enjoyed it.
Well, you got it checked off your list.
Yeah, checked off the list. Yeah.
I just remembered, actually, speaking of checking shows off the old list, I did go see Deftones in Denver.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was in May. It was also very good, and I guess in the way that you did your Steel Panther research, I kind of did a little bit of Deftones research, because I mean, I've seen a decent amount of like live videos and stuff on the internet of them all just kind of sucking ass live. So I was like, it might not be the greatest. And it was also like nosebleed seats at Pepsi Center. So I was like really not expecting it to be the greatest. And then on top of that, they just like lost their bassist that they've had for the last like 10 years. So I thought, you know, all the variables at hand, but they were really, really good. Chino Moreno sang like very well and screamed like very well, which I think the main thing I've noticed in the past live is like sometimes Chino is like too fucked up to like perform. Or like, you know, they're just older and whatever, they tour a lot, so he just doesn't sound the greatest, but he sounded really good. They played like 19 or 20 songs, and a lot of them were just like straight bangers. And Deftones, yeah, they're another one that I had been wanting to see like for quite a while, and I had almost made the move in the past and then didn't because I convinced myself they would suck live. So this time I just did it, and they didn't suck. They were really good. So big shouts out to them for that.
Hell yeah. Have you seen many shows at the Pepsi Center?
I've seen a handful, but it's been a while. Like the last time I think I was at Pepsi Center was for the Black Keys Turn Blue tour, which was in like 2014. It had been like a fat minute.
Yeah. I think that's about the same time I was last. It was like 2014. I saw Pearl Jam. It's the only show.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, that's the only show I've seen at the Pepsi Center, and I'm not too eager to go back to see one unless it's like an artist I really want to see.
Yeah, it's a very weird venue. Like even comparing it to Mission Ballroom, because that's the other like big venue I've been to recently. When you're at Pepsi Center, you know, if you have a nosebleed seat, you're like resigned to it. Like if you try to go down to the floor, they'll be like, you know, you can't be down here. Mm-hmm. Which like on Deftones night, the floor was like half full. Like there was so much standing room down there. And yet here I am in a fucking shitty ass nosebleed seat. Whereas at least at Summit Music Hall, if you get like a reserved seat and you don't like it, you can go stand down on the floor and no one will be like, hey, you can't be down here. And just the sound, like it's just not great. Like from no matter really what vantage point you have in Pepsi Center, there's like nowhere where it sounds truly phenomenal, I feel like.
Yeah, it's not designed. Like you're not meant to see music like that, in my opinion. If you're up front and personal, that's one thing. But yeah, like if you're, like you said, in the nosebleed seats, that's truly like, why the fuck am I? Like, I'm not really experiencing the live aspects of it. Like, they're so distant.
You're so far removed from it that you're kind of just like,
I would enjoy it way more just sitting at home listening to the album, potentially. I don't know. That might just be me. And I'll qualify that by saying I've never been like, and this is funny because I work as like a live sound engineer and I'm in a band. All those things being said, never been a big concert guy. Like I see a lot of shows, but a lot of them are just out of like obligation. I feel like I'm like, oh fuck yeah, this band's coming, I should probably go see it. I might regret not seeing them.
How often do you regret it?
Regret going or regret not seeing it?
Regret going.
Regret going often, most times. Like even I wouldn't say regret going to Phoebe Bridgers, but at the end of the night when it was like midnight and we were waiting this long line to get out of Red Rocks and I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. the next morning, even then I had a great time that night, everything, I still was like, I would trade this in
for a good night's sleep.
For a good night's to be in my bed right now. And yeah, I have that thing at most like, and I love like going to shows like Knuckleballs, like we're real mellow, chill. You know, we got to be right up front, got, you know, to hang out with each other, talk a little bit, see some music. But that's a great show. When it's like such an event, like going to the Pepsi Center or Red Rocks or something, that's when I'm a little bit like, man.
Yeah. That's why you just have to spread them out. You have to like,
exactly,
be picky. I think there was a period of time in my life where I just packed it way too tight and was like, I got to go see every single show that I possibly can. Mm-hmm. And that's when it becomes not enjoyable because then you're just, tired and like you miss your bed. But
yeah,
I think also I have a little bit of a rejuvenation now because I literally couldn't do this shit for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at the end of the Interpol show, when we were like walking out, I was like, damn, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
And like my back hurts. Like, you know, when you get a drink at a show and you finish the drink like 10 minutes into the show and then you have to hold an empty cup for like 2 hours.
Yeah. And then
Like,
the whole
my
time
hand
you're
was,
like,
like,
I want
claw-
another drink. When should I do that?
Yeah, like you're not
Should
going
I
to do
do
it
it
during the
now?
show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So those annoying variables definitely still got to me, but I don't know. I think half the time lately I'm going to shows just to see if the band is like good live,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because I used to only just go to shows where I like knew exactly what I was getting and I wanted what I was going to get. But now I'm finding that I want to see some shit that I might not like normally see just to see if it's good live or whatever, which I think is like, I don't know. I went and saw like Action Bronson earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
which like very much so he's like a studio musician in the sense that like his shit sounds the best and is pulled off the best when it's like just you're listening to it or whatever. But I was just like, I want to know what it's like live. And I went and I didn't regret it. Like, it was cool. It was fun. Like last year, I went and saw Flatbush Zombies at Red Rocks.
Oh yeah.
Also, just because
had a
I
lot of
wanted
people
to
went
know.
that.
I wanted to know what it was like or if it would be any good or if it would be fun. It was one of the worst nights of my fucking life. So you like take those chances,
Yeah.
You place those bets sometimes, and when they don't pay off, it's kind of more like makes you hesitant to like go back out to the next show or whatever. But I don't know. You just got to take those wins and those losses with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a gamble. You can't win them all. Yeah, that's been a thing for me. Like just going to shows I would never go to. Being a little more open to that. Not that I've been to a lot recently, but like before COVID, I was doing a lot of that. Like someone we barely know would like, oh yeah, seeing this band I've never heard of, and I'd go check out the show. That's fun because you have like no preconceived notions. You might be pleasantly surprised, and if it isn't good, you're like, well, I didn't know them anyways. So,
and you can leave early.
Yeah, leave early. I guess that's the biggest thing is leave early.
Yeah.
And,
Always.
But anyways, man, I should probably hop off here soon.
Yes, sir.
It was awesome chatting with you, dude. I miss you. I love you. All right, man. Have a good night.
You too. See you soon.
Bye.
Waxy Wednesdays with Wax Romantics.